What is up? One of the most wild 18 hours in the NBA that I can really remember. I'm joined by Sam LaFrance. How about them Celtics for Celtics Late Night? Sam, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing great. Better than I was when I put my phone away to play men's league today. So I had a game and then I picked my phone up and I was like, oh shit, they won. Nice. And then I watched how they won and it was like, well, of course they won. They just decided to do the thing we've been saying the whole season. Like, what if you idiots just stopped missing shots?
Yeah, just make your shots, play defense, win the games. That would be a lot easier actually than doing the version of what.
Well, now they have the blueprint.
Yeah, they needed to see it they didn't believe that it would actually work until they actually tried it for a half, and it worked tonight, man. So welcome in, Sam. It's been a wild couple of, it's not even a couple of days. It feels like several days since Luka got traded. I'm not sure. It's hard to know. Was it the Luka Doncic trade, the De'Aaron Fox trade, or was it the Celtics coming back from 26 down that brought Zach Lowe out of retirement? Because if you haven't seen this, Zach Lowe has uploaded an 18-minute video to Twitter. So I'm choosing to believe that it was the Jason Tatum fourth quarter masterclass. That was the reason that Zach Lowe came out of Twitter here.
Nice to see Zach back. I did see it. Everyone's excited about it. Saw several tweets about it. It's incredible it took him this long to come back.
Well, I'm assuming there's a non-compete thing he's got. That's my only... unless
Does that mean you just can't compete on your own?
I wonder if he's not allowed to sign anywhere, essentially. He can't go to the Ringer or he can't go to ESPN. Not ESPN, obviously. But it's impossible to know. He may have just decided to take a year off. That's very possible as well.
It's good.
I haven't watched the video yet, but I'm hoping we get a little bit of insight. But on this game, then we'll get into the Luka and De'Aaron Fox stuff as well. But I very rarely tweet early. I am a sick person where I always think there's a chance until there's not a chance. But I tweeted and I was like, I'm going to try and see if I can reverse jinx the team here. And I said it was the worst loss of the year. Everyone should be embarrassed. They should bench everybody. I was yelling at the screen they should bench everybody halfway through the third quarter because I'm like, what's the point? It's even if you play really well, coming back from 26 points down is just statistically impossible. So I think I have it here from Grandy. The Celtics win probability in the final 15 minutes, 0.4%. And they kind of did it going away. They ended up winning by almost double digits.
Should have live bet it. Can't believe we didn't see it coming.
I did the opposite once they went up by 3, and I bet on the Sixers plus 5-1.
That's not bad odds with the 3-point difference.
Yeah, I was like, that's one Maxey 3, and we're shitting our pants again.
Maxey was incredible in the first half, huh? Just couldn't stop him. I was like, is this going to be like it every single time they play the Sixers now? Like Christmas, he's tore them apart too, and then he comes out today. Nobody had an answer for him. Springer had him in hell for a couple of minutes, but Springer couldn't shoot today, so there was no point in playing him.
Springer definitely couldn't shoot today. So, Sam, I think I've been trying to figure out if this team, I believe they're trying to be a flip the switch team. The question was, do they have a switch that works? And no. I think that they do. You go back now to essentially this is their second 3-game winning streak now since the Toronto Raptors game. Raptors, Minnesota Timberwolves, Houston Rockets. So now they've got another 3-game winning streak on the way. They could extend it to 4. It is allowed, Boston Celtics. Don't let anybody tell you that this is the maximum amount of games you're allowed to win in a row here. But you go back to that Raptors game, you win by 50. And they're like, we're going to go on this road trip and we're going to lock in and we're going to try and turn our season around. Beat the Timberwolves, blow out the Rockets. I thought they played well against the Thunder. They just didn't hit a shot in the second half, and they ended up beating the Nuggets. And then it was just off again, on again. You lose a terrible game to the Kings, you kick the shit out of the Magic. You lose a terrible game to the Raptors, you kick the shit out of the Warriors. You kick the shit out of the Mavericks, you kick the shit out of the Bulls. But then it's just sprinkled with like the most painful experience afterwards. And then you follow it up like this is like a flip the switch game, not just like a game to game.
Correct.
When you see them play the way they did in the second half, obviously there was a shot making element to it, but a lot of it was just the defensive intensity. And I haven't seen Jason Tatum guard like that maybe at all this season, the way that he did in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I saw some clips of it. He was flying around, like making things difficult on Philly, bouncing from man to man. Like it was really, really good defense by him. Not to mention the just poise on the offensive end, whether it was the shot making, set up Derek White a couple times in the clutch, which was nice to see, by the way. Derek continues to be back. We talked about this the last time. The stamp is on. He's back. We hit the button.
That's 4 in a row.
All the way back department. Derek White figured out how to shoot the ball again. Okay. To talk about the win as a whole, though, this is a fantastic day because this season, I don't think we've seen the Celtics like escaped the depths of defeat at all. I think anytime like teams have their way with the Celtics are like, yeah, what are you going to do? Shots aren't going in. They just throw their hands up. They're like, well, I guess I can't win today. I guess it's not happening. And today they kind of dug deep, like fought back. Granted, they did get the shots to fall, changed the momentum of the game, but the defense also went up. Philly only scored, what was it, like 25-1 or something in that span where they flew back into the game?
Yeah.
That's not nothing. They had to lock in on the end of the floor, and it's a part of the game that's had so many question marks around it this year with this team. The defensive numbers would tell you that, like, they're fine, but there's just something about when the shots don't go in. They just kind of are like, whatever. Or, hey, this guy sucks. We think he sucks, so we're not going to guard him. Like, they do, like, just little things to piss you off on defense. It was great to see him lock in on both ends of the floor and come back because they needed a win like this. Like, this is the kind of win that gets me to, like, kind of poke my head around the court and be like, oh, are they fixed yet? Like, they might be fixed.
Are we back?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. And maybe they needed to see it too a little bit. Like, it's hard to reconcile because it's like Dylan Brooks hits 10 threes. Is it like that one in particular? I'm like kind of willing to let go, but like because I thought the Celtics played quite well in that game. But like the Caleb Martin game, there's name the game. There's obviously a few of them, and it's like, well, he just hit shots, and they kind of did a version of it today where they had Porzingis on Ricky Council and he hit one early and. The problem with that was then they overreacted to him making those shots and they started like flying past him on closeouts. But like you're like letting these people go off. People are like other teams are going off shooting wise, and you're also not hitting shots. It really felt like they forced the shots to go in. Like there's just do you believe in respecting the game, or are you just a simple shot variance person where it's like the shots didn't go in versus the shots did go in, and like, as you said, throw your hands up, and there was nothing we could have done to change the outcome of that game. And you see the way they play in the second half, and it makes you believe that you do have some control in the way a game can go.
That's why part of this season has been so frustrating, because that's like been the messaging a lot of the time. Like after they lose and it's just like a head scratcher, like, yeah, the Celtics couldn't buy a basket for like 2 months consistently, right? Like it was like Derek was ice cold. Jalen was ice cold. Good to see you too, Irene. We appreciate you always. And then like they just kind of go to the podium after the game. Like Missoula would be like, didn't make threes. What do you want out of us? This is what we want out of you. Like try. Do something like to fix it. Give yourself some energy. Sometimes when you don't have it on offense, you have to kind of fire yourself up and change the game yourself. It's possible. I mean, I'm sorry to keep like bringing this up, but like there was the Clippers game. They changed the tone of the game on defense. Like when Springer came to the game and he started playing defense, it changed everything. And like that's a guy that literally is the epitome of is a really good shooter, menace on defense. How is he still effective? It's because he brings energy. Defense brings energy. You can't just let the shots going in or not determine how hard you try on defense, because you're just going to lose games if you don't shoot well. And that's not the way basketball is meant to happen. It's just not. Especially when you're an elite team like this.
And that's not how they played last year. And I like this is a different team. I'm torn on it because I'm like just do this every game. But like at the same time, I understand that like winning titles back to back years and the type of energy it takes to like actually pull that off. It's like, does it actually matter that they won this game? I don't know, but it kind of feels like it does.
It
And
matters.
yeah, and so like this is what I want to keep seeing. I want to keep seeing reminders. I want to keep seeing, flashes that the switch does work. It would be really nice if it could be an extended stretch. It is wild now. Like if you go back to the Raptors game, I'll try and calculate it while you're talking here. But like the win-loss record is actually starting to look okay over that record, over that little stretch now. And if you had just not lost the Hawks game, or if you had won one or of the two, then like the win-loss record's looking really good over that period, which kind of ties into why I think like the team has been trending in the right direction. Something that's definitely true though.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say they definitely let the opposing team when players are out. They definitely like take their foot off the gas and underestimate their opponent. That's something that's real. In games that they care about, they've definitely been trending in the right direction. And Sam's frozen in a stretch of some description here. But yeah, here he is. Sorry, Sam. We're back.
It's bound to happen. I apologize. Celtics, last 10 games, 7-3 now. Feels like it's been a long time since we've seen it like surpass 6-4. They're not sweaty. Change my shirt. Don't appreciate that.
Rivers is always coming after you.
Prick. But seriously, 7-3 in the last 10 is like actually like you're starting to kind of turn me a little bit. Be like, okay, maybe they've figured something out because they certainly don't look like the team that was losing every other game. They look like a team that's starting to like stretch out a little bit, get loose before they make a nice little sprint to try and catch the Cavs. By the way, who they play next game on Tuesday.
Yes.
Big opportunity for them. By the way, the Cavs murdered the Mavs. I'm sure we'll talk about that. But that is a massive chance to make up a game in the standings. And you have 2 games in February against Cleveland. You have this one, then you have one on the 28th. That'll be in Boston, so they'll lose it because they hate playing at home. Today, another example of how much they hate playing at home because they managed to do this on the road. But they're making distance from the Knicks now. They've even further separated themselves from the 4th seed. They are now 6.5 above Indy at 4, 2.5 above the Knicks at 3. The Knicks, by the way, who are just breathing down their neck a game back, and now they've already created more separation. So things are starting to turn again for the Celtics, and the effort is a big part of that. You need to see that concerted effort continue to be a thing. And, this game, we kind of already talked about it, but like it really is just why we were so frustrated for so long. Because let's just pick out the Raptors game in Toronto that they lost. And it was just it was exactly what you saw for the first 3 quarters here.
Yes.
And they just didn't do anything to get themselves out of the hole. It was very possible that the Raptors team had the same level of talent.
That would have been easier.
Did. Yeah. How did you just manage to have this happen to you several times? That is why everyone was so upset. It wasn't just they're not making shots, everybody. They'll be back. Like, you can't just accept that as the answer because it's just a bunch of bullshit.
No, there was this one definitely felt different. Like, on the timeline, it felt different to me. Like, even the Raptors game was at least close in the 4th quarter, and then they kind of let go of the rope. You were getting blown the fuck out by Kelly Oubre, Ricky Council, and Adam Boner, who we talked about on the last show. We saw some more Boner today, and hey, he's a fun little prospect. But like Yabusele, I'm giving up like every draft pick I've got to try and get this guy at the deadline. Like, he's just straight up awesome. But like, if we're being serious, like they're bringing Reggie Jackson, Kyle Lowry, and Adam Boner off the bench. They're playing Ricky Council, who's barely in the NBA. It's like, and you're down 26. And a lot of it's defense related, both effort and execution. just shouldn't happen. So this is why I think there was a different sentiment about this game relative to, at least for me. I'll speak for myself. This one felt worse. This one felt more embarrassing, and that's why I was like, get him out of here. And they literally waited to the last possible second, pretty much, to get this thing done. But yeah, I guess individually, I mean, Jason Tatum making a run at Clutch Player of the Year here.
Please no.
Is this going to be reinforcing some behaviors that you're not a huge fan of? But overall, so I mean, he plays 44 minutes tonight. I think he played the entire second half, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he did.
Him and Jalen both.
Him and Jalen both. Wow. Okay. Yeah. So Tatum goes off for 35, 7 rebounds, 11 assists, 1 steal, 1 block. In the fourth quarter, 13 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 block, 0 turnovers. And he had this quote after the game here. Tatum told Adam Himmelsbach that Joe Mazzulla challenged the team at halftime. Joe was like, if you're tired, just tell me. I'll sit you down. Let the stay ready group play. Essentially challenging them, telling like, you guys are playing like garbage. Do you want to just not play or are you going to play? And credit to the C's because like it didn't go their way for the first half of the third quarter. And they did stick with it. And I mean, this performance from Tatum was why you don't trade players like this and why you don't trade them for players like Anthony Davis and 1 first-round pick, because there's very few players in the NBA that can do what these guys are capable of. And it was very nice to see that we got the full Tatum package. Dominant 3-level scorer, playmaking, rebounding, at the rim, pull up threes, and then just lock down multiple positions, guarding Yabu, guarding Maxey. When he got that block on Maxey, I was incredibly aroused. This was a feather in the cap for a Clutch Player of the Year, Jason Tatum.
Dude, Sixers fans have to fucking hate this guy. I was really bummed to like not have a great Horford game today because that's just another guy that's there no matter what. Yes, everybody subscribe. 10K will be big for the fellas. Much earned. Great content always. And just like Tatum when he shows up to play Philly.
How about the Celtics? I know you guys had like your biggest stream of all time while essentially you were sleeping last night.
Yeah,
I know. Great. I joined briefly. It was a good time. Go ahead.
I was to miss everybody. I was so mad to be sleeping last night, and I woke up and I was like, everybody had so much fun without me. It was actually terrible.
That's tough.
Tatum has fun every time he plays Philly. Just absolutely dominates. Like, this was a game that was weird for him, too. Like, in the first half, I was like, is he here? Is he playing? Like, very on brand with what Joe said to him. It was like he had 1 shot attempt for the majority of the half and didn't really look like he was engaged. Then he just has this monster outing. It was like a la Game 6 in 2023, except he wasn't missing shots. He just was, like, not doing anything.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, I was gonna say like this is that's how he ends up so efficient. It wasn't because he was missing shots, which like sometimes like he misses shots or is settling, and tanks his efficiency. Whereas this time he just wasn't taking them. So which maybe this is the move, just don't take shots if you're gonna fuck around. Maybe not, because that did not work at all, actually. So don't do that, Jason. Even if you're settling, it's probably not that bad. But yeah, he ends up putting up like a 78.8% true shooting for the game. Like,
do it every day.
I agree with.
Drew Hanlon's gonna be like doing a live show. Like somebody should be like, just like show up with like the box score that's just handed to him. Be like, is he stupid? Why doesn't he do this every day? I mean, this had like. It had like a mix of the Game 6 in Milwaukee, the games against Indiana last year where he was making sharp decisions with the ball at the end of the games. Shout out to Derek White for making the clutch shots, which he always seems to do, especially when he's got his confidence. But Tatum just pulling the strings in the fourth quarter. Philly had nothing for him. These guys were in shambles. They were throwing double teams at him. Did they learn about double teams? Didn't we just talk about double teams like 3 days ago? And like in the Pelicans game, it was like, hey, maybe don't, or not the Pelicans game, rather, the Bulls game. And it was like, maybe don't double team this guy because he's seen double teams before. And he's such an unselfish superstar dude that's just going to be like, all right, like the rest of my team's pretty good too. Like, go ahead, play 3-on-4.
And this like almost comes back to the flip the switch thing the flip the switch thing is kind of because of Tatum. Like, right? When it started happening in the third quarter, he was getting the ball in the middle of the paint and like posting up on a couple of different guys. He was just giving a fake one way, spinning the other way, straight to the rim, like easy layups. And I was like, you telling me you could have been doing this the whole time? Because like that's just what it looked like. It just looked like they weren't even hard shots at the rim. He was just getting clean, wide open at the rim. They didn't have rim protection. Yabusele and, as we've covered, we love Boner. But like, let's be serious here. Like, there's no rim protection, and it just started to look like, oh, fine, I guess I'll do it. And then you add that to the defense. He's coasting. He's just coasting a lot of the time. And I'm both fine with it and incredibly frustrated with it.
Yeah, the coasting is so obvious on defense, like you said. Like, just his transition defense isn't really good. Like, Jack kind of put me onto that where he's like, watch this. Yeah. The dude is just like watching everybody go down the floor, and he's not getting back. And like, I kind of get it. It's a long season. Like, you're somebody that's played deep into the playoffs almost every year of your career. You just played in the Olympics after winning the finals. Like, you're going to need to like pick your spots and take a breather once in a while. But some of it is just egregious. It's good to see he's got it. It's good to see the rest of the team has it too, because there's some question marks with, like we talked about Holiday last time. We're like, oh, does he have it? Still makes a dagger today. Wasn't great before that, but does make like a big shot in this game. Derek White, a lot of questions about him prior to the last 4 games. Jalen, plenty of questions about him. Wasn't playing great. Really was struggling with whatever they were asking him to do. He's either coped with that or they've just abandoned that part of it. And they look like they're playing very connected ball. And this is a big hand up for me, Sam Hauser, back. I was wrong. I pronounced him dead.
You owe him an apology.
Dead, and he just was like, oh, fuck you. I thought we as Sam stick together. And he's like, watch all these shots I'm going to make right on your head.
Yeah. The comments section was not super impressed with you after the last.
They were like, I fucking hate this guy. He should die. And then last time they were all nice to me.
Sam Hauser last 13 games played. He's shooting 8 threes a game. He's playing 26 minutes a game, which might be the most important thing. And he's shooting 39.4% from 3. Might be back. And I'm sure if I filter that down to a little bit, down to like 10 games, I bet you the threes come up, because like that's a bit of a small sample. Yeah, firstly, last 10 games. Oh, no, that comes down. He must have had a little slump in those couple of games. But he looks back. I got a theory about Drew Holiday that I talked a little bit about in Instant Reactions. And it's about his defense, because he definitely cranked it up along with the rest of the team in this game. Maxey, he had a much better time with in the second half. Maxey in the second half, 2 for 7, 11 points with 2 turnovers. Completely different to his first half where he went like 23 points, absolutely nuclear. So Drew Holiday, not the fastest laterally, not the best lateral quickness. What makes him great is kind of like his strength and like his IQ defensively, being in the right spots, essentially like taking the fight to the offensive player. And so, like, I think when he's coasting defensively, it looks really bad, because when he's coasting, then he actually has to try and make up with it with his lateral quickness, which he doesn't have. When he's playing and bringing the fight to the offensive player, he's meeting them around screens before they make their move. He is like using his strength and knocking them completely off of what they're trying to do. And I think that's the thing that's actually happening, because that would explain why when I'm watching, I see like quite wild swings when I'm watching Drew Holiday play defense.
They need him to be at his best. And listen, I have no problem with him coasting. As visually like disgusting as it may be, he's so important when he's on that you need him to preserve himself. It's the same thing I just said with Tatum. This guy, Holiday, has played deep into the playoffs, much, even though he hasn't been on the Celtics. Like, Milwaukee was still a very competitive team, the same year as Boston was, and he was a big part of that. He played in the Olympics last year, obviously won the title with Boston. He's had time off this year where he's been dealing with shoulder stuff. So just keeping him as healthy as possible is really important with the playoffs coming up in a couple months. I'd like to see the shot come around a bit. It has not been the same as it has last year, which is a little bit concerning. because that's not like a on-off switch thing. It's just a, hey, I'm not really good at this right now thing. And 2 of 7 tonight is not quite the 60% from the corners that we were seeing from him last year. But again, makes the big one. I do think he has a gene in him that he'll be there for the big moment, even though he took one of the biggest head scratching shots the other day on the backdoor cut. And he was like, I got to shoot this midi.
That's bad. That's bad. He hit the dagger 3 tonight. Like, it's, I love it. Seeing the Celly, so awesome. Yeah, you mentioned that about the Jalen role. I think that's definitely part of it. Seeing Jalen in the clear number 2 role is his best role. I like that he's gotten better at passing and playmaking, decision making. And I do think that's valuable. But seeing the hierarchy in the correct spot, like it was in the second half today, where it's just Tatum, and he's either running actions with the ball, or he's the screener for Derek White, and they're playing off each other, or it's him with Porzingis, and then the ball's finding Jalen when the defense has already been manipulated, and he can attack from there. That just makes Jalen unstoppable. That's why you end up with now Jalen starting to put together a bit of a run here. Last 10 games now, Jalen Brown, 22 points, 5 boards on like 57, 58% true shooting. Like, he's starting to find it a little bit. 35% from 3 over the last 10 games, which I know is not awesome, but for Jalen, like, that's
this year, pretty good.
That's great. So him in that role, I like seeing that. And again, another reminder of like, what is it going to look like in the playoffs? It's going to be Tatum Porzingis, Tatum D White, hunting mismatches, moving the ball, getting downhill, and then letting Jalen like go to work on weaker defenders against a defense that's already been, the advantage is already created for Jalen.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. I think when they have him go at the defense all on his own, it usually doesn't end well. I think that's what we saw a lot of this year. I think Mazzulla was asking him to try and facilitate as much as he possibly could. Didn't go as well. He was like complaining about it in the media a little bit, like sneaky, being like, they want me to change my game. We really saw it get ugly before this rebound stretch from him. And also his jump shot looks different. We've talked about this before. He just does the thing where he shoots really slow for some reason, and then he looks out of whack, and he's like almost like a baseball pitcher trying to figure out his mechanics again. And now he's shooting just normal speed. Looks like he's taking normal shots, and he's making them. Made some clutch shots. Love it. I want to see Jalen playing his best ball, because he and Derek White are really the things that like bring this team over the top. Tatum is going to be Tatum no matter what. He shows you the willingness to play whatever the hand the other team is giving him is. And in order for him to best do that, these other guys need to be at their sharpest. And we're starting to get there again. It's nice.
Yep. We're starting to get there again. Man, it's crazy to think about this game, because like this would have been a very different experience. And it's like, I'm torn on playing the result, because I like to, Brad Stevens, Kaizen mindset, process over results. And I've been like, this team is the same and they're trending in the right direction, regardless of whether or not they, 2 possessions decided the Hawks and the Rockets games. And like, if they win those now, then instead of us being 7-3, we're like 9-1 in like the last 10. And that's like a completely different experience, obviously. So it's like, well, does that actually mean that they're better than they are? And tonight, I don't think I fell into that category, because as I just said, like there's like losing a close game, and then there's getting blown out by a team like this. And it just is another, feather in this team might not have it this year. So they needed to turn it around. And they did, and seeing Jalen and Derek be a huge part of it, it's like, oh my God, here's the fucking team that we know can win the title. And to see a reminder of that is very, very welcome.
To see a clutch game too. They've been awful in close games this year.
Fourth quarter.
So much so, like, they like pulled all the rug out from underneath us. They were like, all right, like they figured it out last year. The years before, they weren't very good, but yeah, now they're like, maybe we know how to do it, maybe we don't. You're gonna have to tune in to see, which is, I guess, like really good tease to like get you to watch games.
Yeah. We're gonna have to tune in to see, because it's like, as exciting as this game ends up being, and they're 7-3 in their last 10. Like, I'm confident they're gonna be up for the Cavs game. Like, but then they play and then they play. Well, they might be up. They might be up for the Mavs game. That might be like the Anthony Davis, Kyrie Irving. It'll be like Kyrie Irving will be getting booed. Like the atmosphere will be there. Then they play the Knicks. So and then they play the Heat, who they typically hate. So and then they play Wemby. So like there's definitely juice in the remaining 1, 2, 3, 4. Find out, that's for sure. All right, Sam. We'll start with the big one, I guess. Luka Doncic traded. We won't spend too much time on this because I know at this point everyone's heard a bunch of it and we did it last night, but we've got a little more information, I guess. Not really. I guess walk us through. I think that's been a fun thing, is hearing people's like mental experience.
So I was not home last night. Just was at my girlfriend, so I didn't have my stuff.
Ooh, nice flex.
Yeah, sure. I mean, rather be there or do 5 hours of content from midnight to 5 a.m. You tell me. I fell asleep probably a half hour before everything went down. I woke up at 5 a.m. to take a piss. Grabbed my phone. Now I knew that it was real when I saw I have Jack tweet notifications on. So I saw Jack was live with Corrales, and I was like, what is going on here? And I'm like, oh shit, how did this happen? This is so weird. Why would they ever I texted Jack. First thing I did, I was like, what the fuck? And he just kind of first of all, Jack's still awake at 5 a.m. Free.
Yeah, that's
absolute
psycho.
Insane person. He was up, by the way, till 7, I think. Before I actually was able to fall back asleep, so I took my piss, I went back, laid down. Jack's like, do you want to record? I'm like, I probably shouldn't. People are sleeping here. Whatever. I'm just scrolling Twitter because that's the best thing to do. It was an incredible experience to just spend an hour 45, 2 hours just scrolling, getting to the origin of this absolute nuke that hit the timeline. And I got there. And there was the stage where people thought it was fake. Then the other reports started to trickle in. Then people were posting memes. They were making fun of Nico Harrison. There were Luka fat posts. They got Anthony Davis's dad, which was the best part of all of this. Fuck that guy.
Yeah.
Fuck Anthony Davis's dad. He's a rat fuck. Went out there crying about the big bad Celtics 6 years ago now, when his son was maybe going to get traded here. And it was how could anyone want their kid to play for a team that would ever trade a player? Fuck that guy. He is such a loser. I hope he was just an absolute shambles, because the loyal Lakers flipped his kid for a fat slob that can't play any defense. And the best, another great part of this is that Anthony Davis went on with Shams. He did the sit down with Shams to cry that they didn't have enough help in LA, and they traded him right after. Then there's the wrinkle of it where Nico Harrison and the Mavs front office is leaking that Luka's 270 pounds. I legitimately think that they were sitting there thinking about the finals for the last 8 months, just holy shit, maybe we can't win a championship with this guy. The Celtics I wrote about it for Celtics blog. It was the analogy I used. The finals was not them exploiting a weak point. It was, we are going to show you a 20 slide for the amount of quarters they played, by the way, attention to detail, a 20 slide PowerPoint of why this will never work for you. And he's just sitting there they might be right. We can't pay this guy a supermax. Then there's the part of it where people, and I kind of see this, I agree, feel like Luka's going to go to the Lakers and he's going to get spiteful and get in shape. He already had the opportunity to do that. Yeah. He already had the chance. People were fat fuck, can't play defense in the finals, getting cooked every play, red in the face. Just the videos of him spinning around because he's trying to rotate, but he's not actually moving. And did that not put a chip on his shoulder? This is the last opportunity for a chip to be on his shoulder without him eating it.
Yeah, dude. Firstly, there was a lot there, which I loved, and I loved every second of it. You had a lot to get out. Yeah, Anthony Davis. Yeah, you got shanked in a way that Boston, for a guy that won a title. I know. Yeah. If you had to put, I would love to know what, I would love to see a line. What's the line on the Luka divorce, revenge, breakup body? Because it's not going to happen in the season probably. But as he come back next off season after being out of shape again. Because I'm with you. Like, if losing in the finals pretty much because of your inability to play defense wasn't the reason you were able to get back in shape, like seeing videos of Luka like in his first, second, and third seasons where he looks like half the size.
Yeah.
Like it's
Looks
I
like he ate himself.
He actually does. Yeah, man. He's got to regurgitate that up at some point because
he's just like putting his fingers in his throat.
yeah, just get that.
He's
Get
like
the
trying
old
to throw
Luka
himself
out.
up. And then the Lakers have 2 Lukas.
Yeah, that's a concern. That's a concern if they were to make 2. But like if you're making odds, it's like if that wasn't the thing that like tipped him over the edge for like a motivation, discipline point of view, then is this going to be the thing? Like this is definitely a more direct, like everyone that's been around you for the past 5+ years thinks your conditioning and inability to focus on your weight and take the game seriously is a reason to make a trade that's literally never been seen in the NBA's entire history before. Maybe that's the thing, but he's not that young, and like he's 25, he's turning 26 this month, and like
I would say that's young, but that's not.
There's difference.
I'm not old.
I mean, I'm fucking old. I'm turning 32 in like 3 months, but like my age I'm a normal person. I'm not a professional athlete. Like they're typically their maturity is different. Like Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum at age 22 were far more disciplined and serious about their careers than I am now, probably. So like that's like kind of like the progression of an athlete. Like you just like LeBron at age 18 was incredibly mature, and like these guys have to kind of grow up faster than the average person. Like the average person at age 25 doesn't have their shit together, and that's fine and that's good. The difference is your career isn't over in like 7 years, and you're not in the middle of your prime. And so if you haven't figured it out like at the beginning of your prime by now, like I would love to go back and have a look at like the examples of when like this did happen. I know Jokic kind of went through his own little transformation around the same age, so we'll see. But I would definitely like have the favorite on like him not becoming the ripped, jacked Jaylen Brown version of himself.
Can you imagine? He just comes in looking like Jaylen. The drug test would go crazy. Maybe he's going to have to get thrown under LeBron's bus a couple times, because that's also going to happen. It's never LeBron's fault. Like Luka's going to learn, like maybe they'll be even like back and forth throwing each other under the bus. Like they'll be wrestling to see who has to go under the bus and whose fault it'll be. Because it's always LeBron's doing if they win. And if it's not, then it's somebody else's fault. There's also the part of this where they're going to be one of the great duos of all time when it comes to complaining to the refs. Like palms up, that is the best team ever. That's Jordan and Pippen when it comes to complaining to the refs. They're going to get all the calls.
Oh man, that's a brutal watch. That's a good call. Like they are the goats of complaint. Man, that's
nobody even thought of that one.
That's I wonder when Luka's going to come back, because that'll be interesting.
I saw some saying he's targeting the 8th, like February 8th.
Hell yeah,
soon.
We're going to see him in March probably then in Boston. LeBron and Luka. That has a little bit of juice, that's for sure. So on the other side, the Mavs, like, okay, if you are out of the Luka business, fine. I'm fine with that. The problem I have with that is what you've done to your team now, because Anthony Davis turns 32 next month. Kyrie not only is in his early 30s, he has a player option after this season. Kyrie Irving could decide to leave after this season is over. And like that's it. And that's it. Like you have just raised your risk profile in a way that was completely unnecessary without exploring the rest of the market. That's the part that's I can't like accept, is that they've just completely fucked themselves probably for the next decade.
I just don't know like what in their head is the best thing that happens. Like
in their head to win the title
this year.
Well, that's what they think they can do. I know, I agree.
They have OKC looking them in the face. They have Denver there. I don't know if I would like be like Houston, big bad Houston, but like those are two, like, I mean, OKC is the best team in the league record wise, and
Grizzlies,
they're playing incredible
Denver,
ball.
Clippers, like Here's the thing as well, is that no team has ever won the title while making a trade like this in the middle of the season outside of the
Correct.
Houston Rockets and Clyde Drexler. That's the only example. It's because it's really hard to, in the middle of a season, make massive changes to your roster, find chemistry, and then go win the title. It just does not happen.
Did these dumb idiots not see what happened to them 2 years ago? Like, they traded for Kyrie midseason, didn't even make the playoffs. It's this. They didn't. So in this situation, it's a little different because they didn't have to like got the rest of their rotation to get Anthony Davis here. Like, it was like Luka, and then you can have Markieff Morris and Maxi Kleber, who doesn't really play anymore now that they have like PJ Washington and the crew. But like Anthony Davis, like, let's not pretend Anthony Davis is fucking Iron Man.
No.
He had a really good, healthy season last year. He's been relatively healthy this year. Just got hurt, unfortunately.
Currently injured.
Yes. But like, if you're worried about Luka, like in a Zion sense, where you're afraid he's going to just like be so out of shape that he keeps getting hurt when he plays, which doesn't make the most sense for Luka because he doesn't like do the explosive stuff that Zion does. It's like a little different. He can kind of afford to be frumpy and just like go around out there. But if that is your concern, and also the CBA has a lot to do this, which we can talk about in a moment. If that's what you're afraid of, like, I get it. And if you just want to dodge paying him the Supermax, if you earn it, it's just a bizarre move. It doesn't feel like you're going to win from this. I guess Kyrie's like, you're not going to risk him like throwing a hissy fit and like going full Kyrie because Anthony Davis is his best buddy in the whole world that he wanted to play on the Celtics with. Maybe.
Dude, you've just opened Pandora's box when it comes to Kyrie as well. Like, exactly what you're saying. Like, what?
You had him under control. Like, why would you shake the soda bottle?
What movies has Kyrie been watching that he hasn't been telling us about?
He's just. You just see like popcorn on the ground. You know you're in trouble.
You're like, oh shit. He's like, he just comes in one day. He's like, have you guys seen? And you just know. It's like, no, I didn't want to see. Who was that UFC fighter who just went on his like, he was like, he did like a Hitler wasn't that bad rant.
No, I don't know about this.
You didn't see that? Bryce something. Kyrie's gonna be like, I don't know. Did you see what what's his name was saying? Maybe he's onto something. But yeah. So you open that can of worms potentially. I guess in theory you can trade AD the next season before to like recoup your shit. But like,
I think they should do that. Like they should trade Kyrie now. They should trade AD now and kind of just get as many picks as possible because you're just not gonna win with this team. You're not.
Yeah, but they're gonna try this season, and I guess, and it's not gonna work. And I hope that it doesn't work in LA too. But it's just the most frustrating part about the whole thing from a Celtics side of things. It's just like you just like gift wrapped a lifeline to the Lakers for no fucking reason.
Just another free guy. Like that's their whole franchise history is just taking up. Like Bill Burr does great talk on this. He always says like they just steal other people's players. And like you go down the list, it's like Wilt, Kareem, Shaq, Kobe technically was theirs to the draft, even though they traded for him. Like LeBron, Anthony Davis, Pau Gasol. Like they've made a franchise of just taking other people's guys, and they've done it. They've done it once again for free, pretty much.
There's no easier job in the world than being the general manager of the Lakers, and Rob Pelinka's like done a pretty much awful job at like every step of the way. Like the Russell.
To his credit, though, he has like LeBron being like, "What if you traded for this guy? Like, what if I light your franchise on fire if you don't make a fringe trade and give up draft capital again?"
Yeah, this is a good point here. Like, what are we worried about? It's Luka. It is true. Like he is, but there is that like percentage outcome where if he decides to go revenge tour and like get in the best shape that he possibly can, that version of Luka might be the best player in the NBA. We don't know.
Just another thing about lucky.
Yeah, exactly. Like, do I think that's happening? Probably not. But if he doesn't, then they'll never be able to beat the Celtics, and they're in the West. It's just more like the Lakers were about to be done, and now they have relevancy for the next 10 years, which is really annoying.
Like they were almost dead.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the CBA part of this?
Yes,
which I think has like. So I think teams are really terrified of this. Dallas played this wrong. Like no getting around it. Like. What I'm about to say, Luka is in the category where no matter what, you're like, whatever. But I think teams around the NBA now are going to be far more stingy, far more skeptical of who they give these big contracts to. Because if you take a look around, look at this trade deadline, right, Jake? You've got Jimmy Butler, who is shooting his way off the Miami Heat because they don't want to pay him a new contract at 35. And teams aren't really ringing the phone off the hook to take him back because they're afraid to pay him a new contract at this age. And then you have the Bradley Beal contract, which is really not tradable because he can say no. But even if it was, teams wouldn't be like, yeah, I'd love Bradley Beal. And Zach LaVine got traded today. That took an extra year probably than it would have, because it's like, do I want all my money tied up in him? No. It used to be these small market teams felt like they had to do this because, well, we have a guy, we have to keep him. Like, we don't get guys that often. Look what happened with Brandon Ingram this year. They're like, fuck you, we're not paying you. I think you're going to see more and more of that, where it's just like, we don't think you're worth the money. If somebody wants to pay you, good luck to them.
On one hand, I'm really interested because, like, I mean, but Luka is like, that's the guy. That's the type of guy that you don't screw up your cap sheet by giving a supermax
Correct.
to.
Like, it doesn't matter. Top 5 dude, just pay him.
Like, those are the guys that deserve the supermaxes. I mean, ironically, like, Jalen is the type of player you don't really want to give a supermax to because he's not a top 5 guy, but you won the title, and so it doesn't really matter. And he
grandfathered in too.
Yeah, exactly. And sadly, the CBA has kicked in at the right time. But then you've got, on the other hand, like, the Sixers signed Embiid to the supermax extension for 2 more years as well. Good luck with that one. I saw he's doing on-court stuff today. Congratulations.
You see him do a handstand?
To him. Yeah.
So you see the video of him doing a handstand this week?
No, was that a thing that actually
That's a real thing. He was like doing handstands. People were like, he can do anything but play. He tweeted about the trade yesterday, and people were like, "You're gonna hurt yourself typing this." That was all.
Maybe he realizes I better get on the court or I'm getting traded. Well, who's trading for that guy? I guess is part of this. So the other trade that happened today, which was fun, like on Twitter while the Celtics game was like in the midst of this crazy comeback, I'm seeing like a few Kings people and people I follow on Twitter that are a little bit plugged in being like, turn notifications on. Something's happening very shortly. And it's like, this is awesome. This is just awesome. This is the NBA. And then it happens. This is not as surprising, but still a big trade. The Spurs receive De'Aaron Fox, Jordan McLaughlin. Kings receive Zach LaVine, Sidi Sissoko, 3 first-round picks, a 2025 Charlotte pick, 2027 Spurs, 2031 Minnesota, 3 second-round picks, and the Bulls get Zach Collins, Trey Jones, Kevin Huerter, and their own 2025 pick back from San Antonio, which is just, that's like the state of the NBA. Like, there's X amount of teams have all these picks, and teams are like, can I please have it back? Like what happened with the Nets and the Rockets?
Yes.
It's like, please, can I have a couple of them back? I fucked up. So this is a huge trade. Not as surprising because like the Fox to San Antonio thing was expected, but blink test. How you feel about this one?
So the Sacramento Kings were like, hey Dallas, we know we fucked up Luka the first time in the draft, but this is how you should have made a team trade for him. And they got a bunch of picks back for De'Aaron Fox, while also getting Zach LaVine, who's playing well this season. I'm not a LaVine guy. I've been like, this guy sucks for years. And it's also hilarious that they've like they're like, hey, remember those Bulls teams that made the play-in a bunch of times? What if we just put them out here now? Put them in purple. Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, and the Sacramento version of Vucevic, who's much better, Sabonis, are going to be out there hooping. Who's stopping them?
I like Zach LaVine. I've come around on Zach LaVine the last couple of seasons. I think that he could be a really good player on a good team. The problem is he keeps going from loser franchise to loser franchise, and it's like not really his fault. It's like from Chicago to the Timberwolves, back to Chicago, over to Sacramento.
I think he went Timberwolves, then Chicago. I think he just was always there.
That's right. He
went in the Jimmy trade.
Yes, I made up an extra Chicago stop for some reason. He was in Minnesota as a rookie. Saw him win or come second. No, he won. He won the dunk contest in Toronto.
Yeah, Aaron Gordon never beat him.
That's right. I saw that in real life, which was very cool. He tore his ACL. But like Timberwolves, Bulls, Sacramento Kings. Like you can't really find that many more mediocre teams, shitholes over the past kind of like 10 years. So like how much of it is it on Levine? How much of it is on the teams that he's a part of? But I like the return for the Kings. Like you said it, dude. They got more for Fox than the Mavs got for Luka, like easily. I've been trying to pull up the trade machine, but there must be too many people going to it. I gotta go to the spot track.
All the tweets last night. I love the tweets that were like, you can always post your trade machine ideas now because they all are not that crazy.
Dude, they are all not that crazy. So I'll see if it's updated yet. But if that 2025 Charlotte pick is unprotected, then that's like an incredible pick. It must not be.
I think it's like lottery protected. I was playing 2K like a couple years ago, and the Spurs kept having that pick, and I was like, how is that a thing? And I looked it up in real life, and it wasn't the same as it was in the game. So I think they're chilling.
Yeah, it's 1-14 protected, and I'm trying to click on the pick here. It's 1-14 protected. So okay, see that's a classic. Like we made the trade look better than it actually is. Thing because the 2025 Charlotte pick is like, oh my god, we could get Cooper Flag. No, you cannot get Cooper Flag. So I'm not sure what the pick turns into because this is not showing me for some reason. Goddamn spot track, alas. But that's a pretty good return for a guy that's like forcing his way out. For a guy that's like a top 25, top 30 player. You get Zach LaVine, who I think is really good. I think you could flip him. And for the Kings, their goal in life is to just make the playoffs. And if that's your goal, then I like this trade for them. Sabonis, DeRozan, you reunite DeRozan and LaVine less than one season after breaking up is just fucking NBA. That's hilarious, man. That's only in the NBA do you see that. But so I kind of like Monk, LaVine, DeRozan, Sabonis. You got a ton of offensive talent. You're probably like similar spot to what you were just in. You got a lot more shooting. LaVine is like a crazy shooter. But like the story of the trade is like the fucking Spurs. Like you got
the West is so condensed where like you can be like, what if they put a run together? Like they could get in the play-in. I think a lot of people that are neutrals are rooting for them to get in the play-in because, you know, they got Wemby. Like who doesn't want to watch him play in like competitive games? Watching the Olympics when Team USA had to play against France and he was there and they're just like terrified to even think about going to the paint. That's such a leg up for the Spurs. Now they have like a legitimate star guard to go along with Wemby and also like CP3's there to yell at the refs. They're going to be a fun team to pay attention to. They have a lot of young talent. They didn't have to give up a lot of their young guys, which was a really good piece of this too. Like they managed to keep Castle. Let me actually just make sure I'm not going to butcher this because I am not certain or I don't know verbatim who they gave up. But I'm pretty sure they kept like, let's see.
This is who they didn't give up anyone, dude.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't tripping. Like they kept
Trey Jones and Zach Collins. Great.
And Zach Collins was the odd man out because of Sohan and Wemby. He's also not really a place for him.
Not very good.
Correct.
They kept everybody. Everybody that has real value, they kept. Yes, I kind of like Trey Jones. Sure. Like, great little.
But now you really don't need him. Like that's an easy part ways with dude because it's like, oh, we have De'Aaron Fox now. We actually don't need Trey Jones.
Dude, Wemby, the fact that they were able to keep Castle and Vassell, so you got a very deep guard rotation now between Vassell, Castle, Chris Paul, and De'Aaron Fox.
Guys who can defend.
Yeah. And then Barnes has just been solid for them. Like, I'm going to be like actively a Spurs fan now for the rest of the season because I want to see this team in the playoffs. I want to see how quickly Fox because as good as Chris Paul has been this year, which is like almost more stunning than how good LeBron has been because LeBron at least is like a 6'9"
if you
like
listen
athletic
to
monster. I mean, wait, say that again?
I said not if you listen to the broadcasts.
Oh my God. Well, yeah.
LeBron, can you believe it? He's 40.
Well, that is still stunning to me. I was watching the Knicks game last night, like with like my eyes falling out of my head.
He had quite the game.
It was quite the game. But Chris Paul doing it as like a 6 foot unathletic now guard and still being impactful is probably more impressive. So, but like he's been doing a good job, but there's a difference between running pick and roll when you're Chris Paul and you have like a wizardry old man element to it, and now doing it with De'Aaron Fox, who has like legit game breaking athleticism that like defenses are terrified of. Like this dude's putting up 25 a night with Sabonis next to him. Now he's got Wemby running pick and roll, and Sabonis, incredible offensive player, but now they got like shooting, they got ball handling. Wemby, I mean, I don't know if you saw at least the highlights from the Bucks Spurs game from last week.
He's going to war with Giannis. He's taking 1-footed threes. He's doing everything.
Dude. Like, I'm not sure if I've told you this. Like, I tried to like kind of be a Wemby contrarian coming in, and like me and Spoonie were like, Wemby's never gonna be as good as Shea. That's gonna be our take, and I think we're still okay. But I'm completely the other way now.
He's now just, see game breaking.
Yeah, I just now see top 10 all time player. Like, if he doesn't get injured, essentially. Like,
not
he's
to keep
already
beating
too
up
good.
Anthony Davis, but it was really funny when he was like, "Can you believe the media thinks Wemby should be Defensive Player of the Year over me with his 4 blocks a game?" And his I think it was Sam Quinn from CBS just like laid out like all the defensive metrics, and it was like Wemby, and he was like, the fucking media narratives, man. Like, I'm never gonna get a Defensive Player of the Year because these fucking French guys and their media. It's like, no, dude, he's a freak. Like, look at him. These teams are afraid to even like go inside with him, and he's still getting 4 blocks a game.
Dude, the block on Dame, where Dame threw the ball pretty much to like the top of the backboard, and he's still getting it. Yeah, the French media, dude, that's the problem. These French guys, they're good. Yeah, they're good. You know, they're CNN, Fox News. The French
fake news. Just AD's like fucking fake news. Man.
It's fake news, bro.
Years. They're telling you he has 4 blocks a game. He doesn't. Like, watch the game. We're making
you guys got to go on YouTube and do your own research and find out that I'm actually the Defensive Player of the Year.
Kyrie just like shouts out from behind like the lockers. I agree.
He's like, I got some links for you, bro.
Yeah.
Head over to Rumble, but. Yeah, man, I'm going to be actively a Spurs fan now. They have been on a bit of a slide. They're 3-7 in their last 10, as opposed to the almighty Boston Celtics, who have moved to 7-3 in their last 10. But they are currently, what are they? They're 3 games out of the 9 seed still. So they got a lot of work to do. They're 2 games back of their Kings in the 10 seed. So it's going to be hard work for the Spurs to get up there, but they just like if they're able to like hit the ground running and just like simple pick and roll Wemby, De'Aaron Fox, and just figure it out. Like, there's a world where I can see them going on a run and like climbing the standings to a point where they can at least make the play in. But it's going to be harder than I originally thought when I opened the standings here.
Well, the Lakers are probably going to lose a couple games because they don't have any guys to play center anymore. At least until they trade for somebody.
I was going to say, I would expect them to make a move for at least one big man now, whether it's a smaller move for like Walker Kessler or a bigger move for either Jakob Poeltl or Nicholas Claxton or something like that with like Austin Reeves.
We're all going to get our feelings hurt.
Dude, if it's Rob, that's going to be really sad. And it's probably going to be Rob, which is sad.
Devastating.
If they like capture a healthy Rob for 8 weeks, then they'll be like fucking awesome. And it's going to be really hard for me to deal with emotionally because nothing makes me happier than seeing Rob Williams play healthy basketball.
Dude rocks.
Yeah.
Literally rocks the rim.
Yeah. All right, Sam. A lot going on, huh? A lot going on.
Busy day, man, and I missed all of it. Like, wasn't watching the game when all the shit went down. Wasn't awake for fucking Luka. The other trade happened while I was playing basketball. Then we lost in double overtime. We got hoed, by the way. I'm gonna bitch about this on here because I'm not gonna get to it on the show. We're up 1 with 5.4 seconds left, and we play like college rules, so it's not like 2 in the last 2 minutes. It's you have to hit the bonus. Okay. And they have to follow 6 times. They did not stop the clock for the first 4 fouls. I mean, they didn't run the clock for the first 4 fouls.
Well, you're down 1 or up 1?
We were up 1 Did I say down 1?
No. I was just trying to figure out. So they're fouling you, trying to get the clock to stop.
Try and get the ball back.
Okay.
And then guy on our team misses the free throws. What it is, played an incredible defensive game. Like
Sounds
probably
like
our best player wanted him to play. Like wanted him to shoot the free throws. It happens.
Sure.
But how does the clock not run and we lose in double overtime? I was horrible today, so I can't even like bitch. Like if I make like 3 more jump shots, it's not even a game.
Sometimes the shots don't go in, Sam. Nothing you can do about it.
Nothing you can do about it. Like, absolutely nothing. You can't win games. Actually, you do absolutely nothing. You just have to keep shooting them and missing, being like, "What do you want out of me?"
Oh man, sounds like you and Joe Mazzulla would get along quite well. I'm sorry, double overtime loss in rec league. Overtime losses are so much worse than normal losses. Alas, you'll get them next week. I think my rec league starts tomorrow or the next week, which is exciting.
Oh.
I'll get a few weeks in before I get my ankle surgery in April, which will be fun. But alas, Sam, how about them Celtics? Check them out. It's been a pleasure. We've been kind of trading hosts and platforms over the past 18 hours, but that's what it's all about. We're all on the same team. Love to see
You're
it.
on with Jack in the morning, right? People can find you.
That's right.
Running for me.
That's right.
So I was out there sweating.
That's right. If you want more Jake and more Jack and more How About Them Celtics, they'll be live every day. 5 a.m. They'll be dropping that one. All right, everybody. It's been a pleasure. Till next time, go Celtics.